Wake up, DMV. The new era of the Commanders isn't here to play. It's here to dominate. Do you really think this management is afraid of cutting a veteran to make way for fresh blood? Wait until you find out about the RB who's been moved like a chess piece, and a rookie who's literally shaking up the training camp. But that's not all. A former Cowboys demon gave us a no so absurd that even JJ Watt laughed on Twitter. Why lie? He made an excuse weaker than NFC East defenses. Meanwhile, QB1 is proving to be a night wolf before the sun rises, even leaving. Hall of Famers breathless. This isn't a movie, it's our team. Hit subscribe now before the next bombshell drops. Because when Quinn says eyes on the prize, it's a prophecy. Like, comment and don't be the fool missing the revolution. If this surprises you, wait till you hear this, because what happened with Brian Robinson Jr. sent a message as clear as day to our entire locker room. And that message is simple. In this new Commanders era, performance is all that matters. See you with preseason winding down and tough decisions around the corner. Adam Peters and Dan Quinn wasted no time executing a move no one saw coming. They traded Brian Robinson Jr., our 4-year running back, to the San Francisco 49ers for a 6th-round pick. And you know what? This was just the first of many tough decisions we'll see. But here's what really fascinates me. When Quinn explained the decision, he made something very clear. For him, all these choices relate back to a fundamental principle: pure competition. We knew, as I've said, honestly, just the competition itself, Quinn explained. And you know what that means? It no longer matters if you're a veteran, if you have prior experience with the team, or if you're familiar with the system. The only thing that matters is what you produce on the field. End of story. Now, Quinn clarified that Robinson's departure didn't necessarily mean another player had fully emerged, but I believe there's more to this story. Because when I look at what's been happening in training camp, one name is standing out impressively: Jackery Crosky-Merritt. This rookie has been one of the most promising players in our entire training camp. In his preseason debut, he logged 24 yards on 7 carries and added an 8-yard reception. But in his second game, that's where he really exploded. He ran for 46 yards on 11 carries, and his second run resulted in a 27-yard touchdown that gave us a 14-7 lead. But let me give you more details on what makes this situation so fascinating. Robinson Jr. wasn't just any running back. He had history with this organization. Drafted in 2022, he survived a harrowing shooting that almost ended his career before it began, becoming a symbol of resilience for Washington fans. During the 2024 season, Robinson had solid moments, but never really exploded as everyone expected. He finished with 797 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. Respectable, not spectacular numbers. But what really caught the new administration's attention was his lack of explosiveness and versatility compared to what they were seeing from the younger players. Crosky-Merritt, on the other hand, brought something different from day one of our training camp. Not just superior speed and agility, but also field vision and reception skills that Robinson simply didn't have at the same level. Quinn and Peter saw this immediately, and when Quinn talks about the importance of draft status, in Final Cuts, his response convinces me completely that this administration is different. Probably at the start, but not later. Like in initial picks, I could see that, but not as much at the end, he said. But did you hear what he said after? One thing we truly stand for here is competition, and that has been Adam from the start. And we knew it was that way from the beginning. There wouldn't be this or that. That's how we defend the way we do things. This is exactly what I wanted to hear. Because after years of watching this team make decisions based on internal politics, guaranteed contracts, or just to maintain the status quo, we finally have an organization evaluating talent objectively. But here's the part that really impresses me about this whole situation: the speed with which they made the decision. There was no hesitation, no sentimentality about Robinson's story with the team. Peter saw an opportunity to improve the roster and took it immediately. And do you know why this is so important? Because it sends a clear message to every player in that locker room. It doesn't matter who you are or how long you've been here. If someone is better than you at your position, you might be out. This creates an environment where everyone has to give their best every day. Quinn also mentioned that this decision made sense from the adaptation standpoint and beyond. This tells me they weren't just looking at raw talent, but also how each player fit into the system they're trying to build. And when I look at cross-scheme merit, I see exactly the kind of player that fits perfectly into what Quinn wants to do. Offensively, a guy who can run between the tackles but also step out to catch passes, can play in all down situations, and brings that explosiveness that can turn a normal play into a big play. What also impresses me is how they handled the whole situation. There was no drama, no leaks to the media, no politics. They simply evaluated objectively and made the decision they thought was best for the team. Let me say this. Robinson's trade is just a reminder of the Commanders' commitment to building a performance-driven roster, not based on draft picks or familiarity. And with more cuts on the horizon, Quinn and Peters continue to set the tone for Washington's culture, where competition defines the team's identity. And just when you thought we were done, here comes the really crazy part, and it makes me so mad I don't even know where to start. It turns out we had the perfect opportunity to improve our pass rush with a proven veteran, and this guy rejected us for a reason so ridiculous that when you hear it, you'll think I'm making it up. We're talking about Demarcus Lawrence, the 33-year-old former star who spent 11 seasons with Dallas, finished with 61.5 sacks, and went to the Pro Bowl 4 times. Dan Quinn, after working 3 seasons as a defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, had Lawrence in mind as the perfect replacement for Dante Fowler Jr. Because yes, we let Fowler go, who led the team with 10.5 sacks last season, and he ended up signing precisely with Dallas. So the logic was simple. Quinn knew Lawrence, knew what he could contribute, and we needed exactly what he offered. But here comes the part that drives me completely crazy. Instead of signing with us, Lawrence ended up signing a 3-year, $42 million contract with the Seattle Seahawks. And the reason he gave on the pivot with Ryan Clark literally left me speechless. Listen to this, because I swear I'm not making anything up. I had the opportunity to sign with Washington, and it was like, yes, this is a championship contending team. And I personally am not a guy who just follows trends. You know, I'm not going to sit here and join a team just because you have a good chance of going to the championship. It's more like, whoa, what am I needed for? If you already have that kind of team, you don't need me. What the hell did he say? Am I hearing this right? A 33-year-old veteran saying he doesn't want to sign with a team that has a real chance of winning a championship because that would be following a trend? I can't believe what we just heard. Wasn't this exactly what Von Miller cited as one of the main reasons he signed with us? Isn't that what any veteran player looks for at the end of their career? But let me delve deeper into why this is so absurdly ridiculous. Lawrence spent 11 seasons with Dallas. 11 seasons. And how many Super Bowls did they win during that time? 0. How many times did they reach the NFC Championship? 0. And now he's saying he doesn't want to join a team that really has a chance to get there because it would be following a trend. And he continued with his gem. So the important thing is for me to bring my attitude and my personality to the team to help us get where we need to go. Man, you're 33 years old. You've spent over a decade trying to take Dallas where they need to go and never got there. Now I ask, do you really believe that a 33-year-old player with 11 seasons under his belt is more concerned with bringing his attitude and personality to a team than having a legitimate chance to win a ring? You're crazy! And here's what irritates me most about this whole situation: the total lack of honesty. If Lawrence had simply said, Seattle offered me more money, I would respect that. Everyone understands players wanting to be paid properly. But making up this story about not wanting to follow trendy competitive teams is just insulting. And you know what else? Quinn has known Lawrence for years. They worked together in Dallas. Quinn knew exactly how to use Lawrence in his defensive scheme. If anyone could maximize what's left in Lawrence's tank, it was Quinn. But apparently that didn't matter. Let me give more context on why we needed Lawrence and why this rejection was so frustrating. After Fowler left, we had a glaring need for a veteran edge rusher who could not only pressure the quarterback, but also be solid against the run. Lawrence was exactly that. During his 11 seasons in Dallas, Lawrence consistently showed he could be effective both in the pass and run game. He had exactly the kind of experience and leadership a young team like ours could use. And consider this, He already knew Quinn's system, so there wouldn't be a learning curve, but instead he chose to go to Seattle, a team that at best will struggle to make the playoffs because apparently he didn't want to follow the trend of joining a real contender. And you know what's even more frustrating? The way he framed it like it was a matter of principles. I'm not a guy who just follows trends. Man, you're talking about winning a Super Bowl, not buying trendy sneakers. And when he said, if you already have that kind of team, you don't need me, that shows me he completely misunderstood what we're building here. Because the truth is, we always need more talent, especially seasoned veterans who can help guide younger players through the playoffs. Look, if Lawrence felt uncomfortable signing with Washington after spending 11 seasons with Dallas, that would at least make some sense. Divisional rivalry, loyalty to fans, those things I can understand. But this explanation he gave doesn't make any sense. And you know what? In the end, it was better for us because we ended up getting Von Miller, a future Hall of Famer who does want to be here and does understand what we're building in Washington. Miller, when he signed with us, said exactly the opposite of Lawrence. He said he wanted to be part of something special, that he saw the potential of this team and wanted to contribute to taking it to the next level. That's the mindset we want in our locker room. And here's the irony of all this. Lawrence will spend another season trying to bring his personality to a team that probably won't even make the playoffs, while we'll be competing for a Super Bowl with players who actually want to be here. You thought Jaden Daniels was just that chilled out California guy with that laid back smile. You're completely wrong. Dan Quinn just revealed something that will forever change how you see our quarterback. And I say this, what you're about to hear explains why all those analysts talking about a sophomore slump don't have a clue. In a recent interview with Diana Rossini from The Athletic, Quinn dropped a bombshell about Daniels' true personality. That left me completely amazed. And listen to this, because this is pure gold. I think that smile is of a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's a real canine competitor. A wolf in sheep's clothing. Do you understand what this means? While everyone sees this kid with that relaxed attitude and that friendly smile, Quinn is telling us that inside is a beast hungry for competition. And I believe that explains absolutely everything we saw in his rookie season. But wait, because Quinn didn't stop there. He told us about Daniels' work habits that literally left me speechless. Turns out our quarterback is an early riser and prefers to review everything before anyone else arrives. Long before dawn. And here's what excites me the most. Quinn says there were moments when he'd look at the training field and wonder, who's coming off the field in the dark? And the answer was always the same, Jaden Daniels. That's Burgundy and Gold, baby. But you know what's the craziest part about all of this? That this standard not only impresses his teammates, but inspires them to compete with him. Player after player, we hear how Daniels' efforts to improve every day push them to be better in their own projects too. And when Quinn mentions that the veterans discovered Daniels has a high capacity for rebound and specifically mentions Bobby Wagner, a future Hall of Famer, connecting with him at that level, I say this, we have something special in our hands. Do you think a player like Wagner, with all his experience and accomplishments, will respect a rookie if he doesn't? See something genuine? You're crazy. Wagner has been in this league long enough to recognize a true leader when he sees one. But let me tell you more details about what Quinn revealed, because this gets even more impressive. According to the coach, Daniels isn't just someone who arrives early. He has set a completely new standard in the organization. We're talking about a kid who, in his first season, was showing up at the training complex while it was still dark outside. Not because the coach ordered it, not because it was mandatory, but because that's simply his mentality. And you know what this created? A ripple effect throughout the locker room. Suddenly, other players started competing to see who arrived the earliest. Seasoned veterans began pushing their own limits because they didn't want to be outdone by a rookie. This isn't just leadership. This is transforming an entire culture. Quinn also revealed that Daniels has this unique ability to rebound from any adverse situation that arises during training or games. We're not just talking about physical resilience, but mental strength. When something goes wrong, instead of falling apart or showing frustration, he absorbs the information, processes it quickly, and comes back even stronger on the next play. And Here's what really impresses me. Wagner, a guy who played with Russell Wilson in Seattle, who's been in Super Bowls, who's seen everything in this league, said he has rarely seen this combination of external humility with internal competitive fire in such a young quarterback. That's not just an endorsement, it's validation at the highest level. Now, let me ask you something. How many quarterbacks do you know that in their second year don't need to convince anyone to follow them, but still continue to work as if they have something to prove? Because that's exactly what we have with Daniels. This mentality that last year doesn't matter, that even last week doesn't matter, is exactly the kind of approach that separates the good from the great. While other quarterbacks rely on their past achievements, Daniels lives completely in the present, focused only on being better today than he was yesterday. And when I think of all those detractors waiting for a second-year slump, I can't help but laugh. Because they clearly don't understand the type of mentality we're dealing with here. We're talking about a player who not only has the talent, but has this wolf mentality that Quinn describes so perfectly. Quinn also mentioned something that caught my attention. Daniels has this rare ability to make veterans want to work harder. Not out of obligation, but out of inspiration. When players like Wagner see a 24-year-old setting these standards, it sparks something in them too. And look, this isn't just about waking up early or working more hours. It's about the mentality behind it. Daniels isn't doing it to impress anyone. He's doing it because he genuinely believes there's always another level to reach, always something more to improve. Do you see why I say this organization is no longer the same? We have a quarterback with the mentality of a wolf that's setting standards that inspire Hall of Fame veterans. We have management making decisions based solely on merit and competition. And while other veteran players make ridiculous excuses not to join us, those who truly understand what we're building are rushing to be part of this. And let me connect all these dots, because when I look at these three stories together, I see a very clear narrative emerging. First, we have Daniels establishing a new culture of work and competition that's inspiring the entire locker room. Second, we have Peters and Quinn making tough but necessary trade decisions to ensure only the best players are on the roster. And third, we have veterans like Lawrence rejecting the opportunity to join something special for reasons that don't make sense. But you know what all this tells me? That we're on the right path. Because the teams that really reach the top are those that have high standards, that don't make concessions for sentimentality or politics, and that attract players who genuinely want to be part of something bigger. And when I think about the future of this franchise, I'm genuinely optimistic. Not just because we have talent, though we certainly do, but because we finally have the right culture, a culture where competition is valued above all, where leadership comes from example, not empty words, and where every decision is made with the goal of improving the team. Now I ask you, do you believe Jaden Daniels will suffer a sophomore slump with this work mentality? Do you agree with the decision to trade Brian Robinson Jr. to send that message of competition? And what do you think of the pathetic excuse Lawrence gave for not signing with us? Because at the end of the day, this community is a family, and I need you to be part of these conversations. Every like, every comment, every subscription helps us grow this community of Commanders fans who live and breathe Burgundy and Gold every day. If you're as excited as I am for the future of this team, if you believe we finally have the right culture and leadership, then I need you to subscribe right now, because I guarantee tomorrow we'll have more explosive news and you can't miss what's coming. Like, if you believe Daniels will be even better in his second year, leave your most daring prediction for this season in the comments and subscribe, because we are the most passionate family in the DMV and we need to keep growing together. And remember, hail to the Commanders.